Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo Sport, and we're back with the FIA Manufacturer's round number 10 highlights. So this is the final race of season 1 of the Manufacturer series. So if you do enjoy these videos, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button, and let me know in the comments how you got on and if you enjoyed this video, obviously. So this was slot number 4, I believe this was slot 4, I think, and I'm starting from P4. Managed a reasonably good qualifying lap, got an okay slipstream. It was not perfect, but we're in a good position in this race to try and get some sort of decent points. You can see a very strong lobby though, all the way through the grill, some very fast drivers in this race. So this was unusual. With it being the final round of the season, it seemed to be that a lot of drivers were trying to get as many points as they could for the final slot. So yeah, people were going again. Luckily in this race we managed to qualify P4, and we're going to start this race. And we started on the mediums. I took a risk of starting on the mediums. All the three ahead of me had started on the softs, so maybe I should have possibly went with the softs. It's a hard decision, but yeah, I went with the medium tyre. I'm not 100% sure it was correct, although it may have been an okay decision. But let's take a look at this race. So we're starting from P4, obviously. We're going to try and see if we can stay with the runner in front of us on the soft tyre. So through here, reasonably okay at the moment. You can see straight away they're going to get a little bit extra grip out of that corner. Obviously they're on the softer tyres, and you can see struggling to stay with them, and we've lost that slipstream already. So we've got Agu behind us in the Vantage, which is going to be able to easily overtake us in terms of straight line speed, because the Porsche was okay here when you were in a slipstream, but the problem became when you didn't have slipstream. As you can see, Agu going down left hand side. We're not going to really defend that. We're going to let him take that inside line, and I'm going to try and tuck in behind him and use his slipstream now, because I'm pretty sure that Agu at this point was on mediums as well. He's just obviously got a car with a lot better acceleration than us. So we're going to follow behind Agu and try and work with him to see if we can get a little bit closer to the soft tyre runners. Because my thoughts for this was, if we work together when they're on the softs and we're on the mediums, if we all work together and bump draft and play it smart, we might even be able to get a little bit closer to them and really put them under pressure at the end of the race. So coming out of here, we're behind Agu. We've got Haku behind us there, also I think in a Vantage. So let's see what happens on this start straight. So working our way down the straight, you can see I think we might have give Agu a little flash here. Yep, we give him a little flash there just to say we're going to bump draft here. So we give him a nudge there, but Haku behind doesn't want to play that game. He wants to go down the inside and try and make up some places. Now it's totally fair. I mean, it's a race, so I don't blame him. He's in a car that's faster down the straights. However, I think if we all work together in this situation, we could have put the soft tyre runners under a lot of pressure. But this is racing, so it's perfectly allowed. So we're going to tuck in behind Haku now and try and follow it in his slipstream. However, the issue we've got now is, obviously with the two Vantages in front of us, once that Vantage is in the slipstream with another Vantage, it's very hard for the Porsche to stay in their slipstream, because the Porsche hasn't got the power that they have on the straights. We've also got Quentin behind in the RCZ that is absolutely brilliant in a slipstream. I noticed this at Catalunya when we were doing it on live on stream. In a slipstream, that RCZ is on, I think it's because of the gearing, but it's so fast down the straight in the slipstream. It's not very fast without a slip though, I will say that. So Quentin then goes for a massive lunge down the inside and actually comes into contact with Haku. So all this battling now just really costs us places in terms of where we're going to finish at the end, because when you're battling like this, you're losing time to them soft tyre runners, and it's all getting a little bit messy. So at this point I thought, you know what, we're going to have to forget about the playing it for the long run. We're going to have to just battle it out, because no one else seems to want to try and get as close to the soft runners as possible by the end of the race. They're all going for that as good a position as you can get straight away, which is fair play. I mean, some people know they're going to be faster, especially the drivers in the Vantage. They know that their car is going to be very strong. And also Quentin was he's always absolutely flying at this track. I remember him in Group 1, very fast around this track, absolutely nails it pretty much every time he's on. So we've got Nick going down the right hand side. Now through here, he runs wide. We try and stay to the left. We can see we put in maximum steering input into the left there, but we do give him a little nudge out to the forward of the track, and he actually loses the position. So sorry about that, Nick. I did apologise when we were live for that. I did squeeze him a little bit too aggressively. Did have the inside line, but still, we did push him out a little bit there. So apologies for that one, Nick. I think he accepted the apology. No hard feelings there. So we've got now Francis behind us in the Corvette, but we have lost the slipstream now to the RCZ in front of us. So this again, we're in that awkward position where we've been battling so much. We're down to P7. We're going to fast forward the action up the hill. We're going to see that Corvette try and go around the outside. I'm trying to defend this now to see if we can stay in the slipstream, but it looks like we're going to lose the slipstream to Quentin in front of us anyway. So this time you're going to see there's not much I can do. Now Nick behind us there into the pits very early. I kind of think I should have pitted then also. I think it would have worked out quite well. However, I didn't. Now we've got the slipstream of Francis though. So we're going to work with Francis as much as we can now. There's no point battling with him too much because his car is faster. He's faster around this track, I think. Anyway, the Corvette is a very good car around here. So yeah, we're going to skip ahead a little bit further on in the race. And you're going to see, instead of battling with Francis, I was waiting. If he was going to pit here, I was going to pit. So yeah, we're going to follow Francis all the way. There's no point me carrying on or, you know, trying to break away from the slipstream with him, because if I had tried to undercut him, there wouldn't be much benefit, and I think that Nick would have come out ahead anyway. As you can see, Nick up there gaining a big advantage off the soft tyres. Maybe if we pitted one lap earlier, we might have come out into Nick's slipstream though. That again, it's all about hearsay. You know, when you're making these strategy calls, you have to do what you think's right at the time. But maybe one lap earlier there for me and Francis might have got us into the slipstream of Nick. We decided to stay out for 2 laps, you see. See, we're on to lap 6 now. So maybe if we'd have came in lap 4, at the end of lap 4, we might have got Nick's slipstream and had better tyres than him. So maybe a slight mistake by myself and Francis. But now we're going to follow on Francis as we fast forward the action. And again, we're going to work with him. We're going to bump draft Francis down the straight as much as we can in the Porsche. The only thing about the Porsche is obviously it's not the fastest car on a straight line. So we're going to give him the flash just to say we're not going to fight you because we're going to lose time if we do that. So we give him the bump draft. And yeah, it gives him a little tiny boost of speed. It's not much, but you know, any little boost of speed instead of battling is welcome, because if we start fighting at this stage, we have got no chance of catching that group up ahead. If we start fighting out side by side, we're going to lose a lot of ground to them other cars. So now that we've got the soft tyres on, well, the medium tyres, sorry, I think it is, no, it is the soft tyres, sorry, yeah, we started on the medium tyres. So we're going to try and push on and try and catch up to the lead group that obviously started on the soft tyres, and they're going to be pitting for the medium. So again, another bump draft on the straight. That's going to help him a tiny bit, not massively because it's at the end of the straight, but any tiny amount, like I say, if you're gaining a tenth rather than losing half a second because of battling, it's definitely worthwhile. Now through here, we're getting very close to losing the slipstream as we fast forward the action again. You can see also Francis getting very close to P7, so he's starting to get the slipstream. And this is a bit of a problem, because if he gets that slipstream, the Porsche will really struggle to stay with that Corvette when it's got a slipstream. So yeah, we're trying to do everything we can as he goes for a move on Wheeling, who is now on the medium tyre. So he started on the soft tyre. So this is possibly showing that my decision to not start on the soft tyres might have been a good idea, because he lost the slipstream to P1 and P2. So if he was going to lose that slipstream anyway, and if I was on the softs, we would have possibly have been where he is now. So when I came to this point in the race, I was like, maybe we did make the right decision then, because he's clearly on the mediums now. We're going to have to send it up the inside and try and see if we can get back into Francis's slipstream. You can see coming through here, and you can see Wheeling as well isn't going to battle this because he knows that he's on the slower tyre. So he gives us a little bump draft there to try and get us back into the slipstream of Francis. You can see we're verging on losing that toe now. As we work our way through here, we've got to try and really hook this section up, trying to get it to the apex on the power as early as we can, using all the track, the full width of the track, and we're just in that slipstream at the moment. However, if Francis does this corner really well, we're probably going to lose that with the power of the Corvette. And you can see coming through here though, Francis makes a quite good mistake for me, to be brutally honest. He hits the wall, loses about 3 attempts, and that gives me the full slipstream again to Francis. So back in the race here now, we're going to try and work with Francis again. Like I say, no point fighting with Francis during this stage. We're not going to battle him. We're going to just play it safe, let him know that we're not going to try and send one up the inside, because if we do that, we ain't going to hold the position anyway, because the Porsche was just too slow down the straight. So yeah, following behind Francis again up to this corner again. We're not going to fight him. We're going to see. I think we might give him a tiny little bump draft up the hill. We're going to help him a little bit there, maybe 1 or 2 miles per hour, and then into the braking zone, braking just before that 100 ball, braking nice and early as well. Now that we've got the slipstream, another benefit of this is Obviously, when we're in the slipstream, we can just lift off the throttle that little bit earlier and help save the tyres. So it does have a double positive, really, because you not only are you working together and gaining, you can see now that we've actually dropped wheeling behind us, and we pushed the limits through there, almost getting dirty tyres, but just about keeping it on the track. And now we're coming to the last third of the race, really, because now is the time when, if Francis manages to get in that slipstream up ahead, we might be able to start fighting for a top 6. You can see a very close battle going on there. You can see we've got P3, I think, P3, 4, 5, 6, all in a line, and myself and Francis P7 and 8 not far behind. So there is opportunities available in this race. As we come into the braking zone, you can see again, we're not going to send it on Francis because there's no point fighting. We want to get involved with that battle. And then as we come through here, though, there is a car almost going onto the gravel up there. They're going side by side, so they're starting to fight it out now. This is good in a way, but it is going to give Francis a slipstream to that group, which is meaning I'm going to have to stay as close as I can to Francis. As we look on the replay camera, you can see very close between this group. Look how close this is. We've got almost 6 cars fighting for the final podium spot. Absolutely brilliant racing going on here, and really clean as well at this point. It's all going really well. You can see we got a little bit lucky in terms of getting back into Francis's slipstream, but now we're taking advantage of that and we're not going to fight him. You can see that wheeling just dropping off now. You can see every time we get on the straights and we're all using the slipstream, he's dropping further and further back, so he's just losing 2-3 tenths. And this is the thing with GT Sport, once you lose the slipstream, your race is almost over. And that's why it's a big risk, you know, what tyres you start on, what tyres you don't start on. And yeah, maybe I still think that they should reduce the strength of the slipstream. Personally, I think it's a tad bit too strong. I do think it creates exciting racing, but I also think it's a bit too artificial. I think if it was half the strength that it is now, it would still be very strong. I think it would still be stronger than games like iRacing, but I think it would still create great racing. It would also give people the opportunity to fight back if they do lose the slipstream. So yeah, in this current state, even if you're 3-4 tenths a lap faster and you lose that slipstream, you're not going to catch them because the benefit is so strong. You can see on the straight now, Porsche dropping back a bit, like I'd expect now that Francis has got that slipstream. So we're going to have to be quite aggressive on the brakes. And one thing that we do know is once they're close up there, they have to brake a little bit early, and they're going to start battling. As we see Agu going side by side with another car, and I think that is Quentin, or I don't know what's gone on there, but a little bit of contact between 2 cars. That has given us a promotion by 2 places, and we managed to get past Francis on the outside here. Now, we didn't really want to go for that, but if we had to back out, we didn't want to give any other cars slipstream, so I just thought we're going to carry on pushing. We're up into P5. Now, I do know straight away that Francis is probably going to get straight back past us because his car is so much faster, but up this hill now, Francis obviously doesn't want to battle on this section because we're coming up to a phase of the track where the Porsche is pretty good anyway, so we're going to go to left, and he gives us a little bit of a bump draft there. We was going to let him go through probably anyway, but he's going to bump draft us here. We're into the braking zone, trying to brake as late as we can, down to first gear, missing the apex a little bit, but yeah, we're not too bad there. We get on the power reasonably well, maybe losing a tenth or so as we work our way into this really tricky section. This is probably one of the hardest corners on the track and where you see most people make mistakes. Obviously trying to chuck it in there on the throttle as early as you can, and then working our way into the final corner and then on for the drag race. Now this is where, like I say, this is where the Porsche is at its weakest. You can see they're battling up in front. We've got Agu and Nick battling out for the final podium position, and now Francis is going to show you just how fast the Corvette is in a slipstream versus the Porsche, because once he's got that toe, just look how easy it is for him. It's not even a task for him to really do. It's just simply done well before the braking zone, and nothing we can do to defend that. So yeah, we're just going to work with him again. However, we're into the stage of the race where, is it really worth fighting now? We've got the last 2 laps. We really need to try and see if we can get this P5 from Francis. We've got a good solid gap to the cars behind us. So you can see there, we've got 2 seconds to any cars that are anywhere near us. So we've got space to fight this out. So on the final lap, I thought, you know what, we're going to go for it. We're going to try our best to see if we can take a P5 from Francis. We've had a nice clean battle with him so far. So going down the main straight now, can we go for a move? You can see the difference now between the Corvette and the Porsche in terms of slipstream. We're able to get side by side just about as we get into the braking zone, but not able to go past him. We're going to try and hang it round the outside. He's going to give us space there, but again, it's a drag race now into the next corner. We've got a really strong exit from the corner. However, he's now got the inside line into his next left-hand corner, and also His car is just that little bit more powerful on the straights. Again, we're trying to take the speed through the corner. We're not able to get that inside line. And again, we're going to have to back out and try and go again for the next braking point where we get a bit of slipstream. So this is going to be very close. Can we manage to get a really strong exit from this important left-hand corner? We get a reasonably good exit there, you can see. Onto the throttle nice and early, getting close to the barrier. And now we're in the slipstream to Francis. Can we use that slipstream to possibly go for a move? We've got the other two cars for P3 and 4 also battling up ahead. This is going to be a very close and tense ending to this race. We go for the fake again, then try and go around the outside and brake as late as we can. Now that is a positive for the Porsche. You can brake really late. However, we go around the outside. Francis still on our left-hand side. This is a brilliant battle here, really clean as well. We now have the inside line through there. Can we manage to hold around the outside? I decided to back out there, try and do a bit of an undercut. You can see Francis not able to take the speed through the corner. We go to the left again. We're going to try and send it round the outside and try and force him to go a little bit deep on the brakes. He does go a little bit deep. We've now got the inside. We're side by side again. However, again, we just don't have that power in the Porsche. But absolutely brilliant racing there between myself and Francis. I thoroughly enjoyed that little battle. We get the slipstream down the straight. Can we manage to go for a move before the finishing line? We're getting a little bit of boost there, but we don't quite make it. And we finished that race in P6. And we managed to pick up, I think, 310 points. But I thought, do you know what? We've already got better points than that, so we will go again and try and do the final slot of the day. However, qualifying was a bit of a disaster, if I'm honest. We just didn't get a good slipstream, didn't get a good lap in, and we're starting all the way down in P12, I think it is this time. Let's have a little look. Yeah, down in P12 for this race. And unfortunately, there was actually quite good points available for this race also. So we've got a lot of work to do to see if we can get anything out of this race. And also, we've got some very fast drivers starting at the front of the grid for this one. We've got Quentin there in the Peugeot. Although the Peugeot isn't going to be the fastest without slipstream, but Quentin round here, I think he can make any track work, any car work for him pretty much. And so we're going to warm them tyres up again, obviously starting on the mediums this time, going into turn 1 as late as we can on the brakes. We don't want to be too aggressive. You can see again, you get that little bit of loose rear end where the car is obviously got cold tyres. The temperatures aren't in the tyres yet, so you do tend to have a lack of grip. Working our way again into this very tricky left and right hand corner again, where it's all about rotating the car, getting the car rotated in so that you can get on the power as early as we can. You can see P11 getting all kinds of sideways through there. Can we go for a move up the inside? We kind of go for a fake. We're trying to get a move done because we want to get into the slipstream of Catfish as soon as we can. That Lamborghini is going to be very strong for the initial phase of the race before the tyre wear kicks in. So again, down the straight, we're going to get the slipstream from this Toyota now. And are we going to be able to go for a move before this left-hand corner? You're going to see we're going to try and send one up the inside. We brake as late as we can. A lovely move there and just about sneaking in that gap between Catfish and that Toyota Supra. So a really nice move there. And now we're going to try and fight on to get into the slipstream of Catfish. So onto the brakes as late as we can. Nearly getting in the slipstream there. And the Toyota behind us this time is going to give us a bump draft. So now it's about seeing if we can catch that group of cars up. It was pretty obvious that that Toyota was going to lose the slipstream, so that's why I went for the move, because he'd almost pretty much lost it anyway. So through here, Catfish gets it all wrong there. That is going to give me the slipstream now to the Lamborghini, and now we're going to be able to maybe get a bit of benefit from the power of that Lamborghini. Very fast car down the straights. So following behind Catfish, we're going to fast forward the action for a little bit of this lap as we work our way up the hill. Not really much action going through there. And then we're going to come to that really tricky left-hand corner into the braking zone. We see very close to Catfish through here. So it does seem to be struggling a little bit. We actually gave him a little nudge there. So apologies for the little tap on the rear there, Catfish. But yeah, to make up for that, we're going to give him a bit of bump draft. Well, as much of a bump draft as we can physically do in the Porsche. There's not much you can actually do because, like I say, other cars are just so much faster. However, the Supra's working with us. He does go for the move down the outside. Actually, that is now the Corvette driven by Survey. It's not Supra anymore. And that is why he's going for the move down the right side. So we're going to try and work with Catfish and try and hold that inside line. Can we manage to keep the car ahead of the Corvette? And we do manage to give him the space and just about stay on the inside line. And now we're going to be battling our way into this left-hand corner. Now the Supra gives the Corvette the bump draft on the outside. However, we've got the inside line. And we just about managed to hold on to that P11. So a little bit of battling going on here. I did want to work. Again, we wanted to try and work with Catfish to push him into that group ahead. But it all starts battling. And I think this is kind of expected when you're battling in the midfield. people don't really want to work together, they want to fight it out. Now if you do work together, you tend to get a lot closer to cars, but I can totally understand why they wouldn't do that, as Catfish hits the wall, lags, rebounds in front of us, and we end up losing a little bit of time there. And unfortunately, we've now obviously not got a slipstream, so this is not ideal situation. It's going to be very hard for us to catch Miro. However, Miro in the Mazda has probably the worst accelerating car I've ever seen on GT Sport. That Mazda is so slow out of corners, and it really highlights it at this track. So yeah, that BOP change, the car can still compete at some tracks, but this track was a big no-no for that Mazda. It really suffered in terms of acceleration. But you can see Catfish working with us a bit there, but he's going to go for a little look up the inside. He gives us a little nudge, pushes us a bit wide onto the grass. However, as he does that, he spins himself. I think he got contact with other cars, and absolute mayhem going on behind us. So yeah, crazy racing going on here. We got pushed wide, luckily kept it on the track. He then spun himself, and now we're up to P10, and we've now got the Ford GT behind us. So will the Ford GT work with us? Now at this phase I thought, what do we do? Do we go for an early stop and try and get an undercut to get closer to the cars ahead? I wasn't sure which way to go about this, but as we come through here we can see that they're going in the pits, and I thought, do you know what, I don't know if the cars behind me pit and get an undercut on me, we're going to lose that slipstream. So I thought, we're going to have to pit. Unfortunately, they didn't pit. Well, some of them didn't pit. So the Ford stayed out, and I think another car stayed out. So we're just in no man's land again. So we're going to skip ahead to the next lap as we go past the pit lane, and you're going to see them cars that didn't pit have now pitted. And as we come down the straight, we've obviously got a bit of an undercut with the softer tyre, and we've got out of the slipstream range. However, the Ford GT is a pretty strong car around here, because not only is it really fast through fast flowing corners, it's also got very good top speed and acceleration. So he should be able to catch us up on the accelerating and the power zones of the track, and also it's pretty fast through the corners as well. So it's going to be a case of just staying ahead as long as we can, and let's see if he gets past us. I will work with him and bump draft him. If he works with us, whatever, let's see if we can catch this group up. You can see we are gaining on Miro in front of us in P9. We're slowly catching that group up. You can see they're battling. That's going to lose them time. We're not battling, myself and the Ford, because he's not managed to get in our slipstream fully yet. Although you can see now he's just about in the slipstream now, and you can see the difference. As soon as he gets in the slipstream with that fast forward, you could see the closing speed of that Ford GT. Almost like an instant boost once he got the slipstream. And now he's going to work with us. He's bump drafting us. So yeah, you can see this is going to help us out. You can see I wasn't really going defensive, because I thought if he wants to go past, we'll let him pass anyway. But we are getting closer to this group that are battling out in front of us. So we've got P8 and 9 battling it out. Now at this stage, I suppose we just want to get as close to them as possible, and we're not really going to get the points we require in this race no matter what, because we're far too far behind the big points available. And that is probably why I think Miro is going for that really defensive approach. He's trying to hold on to that P8 as much as he physically can, which is fair play. I mean, I don't think we're going to get anything more than a P8 out of this race anyway, because obviously once the lead group that started on the soft tyre have pitted, I still think we're going to be quite a way behind them as we work our way down the straight. Now you can see they're out the pits already, I think, in the lead. They're onto the medium tyres. We've got some other cars, as we see the Ford going down the right hand side, and he's going to take that position back, and you can see we're down to P11 now. So yeah, we've got Tidgney behind us in the Vantage, which again we already know is a very strong car for this track, so he's going to be gaining us. Also, I did notice that he had a fresher set of tyres. I know he pitted one lap later than myself, so I was just about wanting to work with the Ford. There's no point battling. However, once the group ahead, I think they didn't really have the same idea. I wanted to just work together, see if we can work our way forward, and just keep ourselves out of P12 and P13's slipstream. But like I say, that's not what everyone wanted to do, and I totally understand that. Like I say, Miro just wanted to hold on for as many positions as he physically could in that Mazda. So into the braking zone, we've got the slipstream still. You can see that Digit and Miro battling it out. Now we've got the Ford GT right behind them also. The Ford GT obviously had that lap fresher tyres also on his car, but obviously that car is not as good on tyres as the Porsche. So it's going to be an interesting end to this race. We've got very close racing going on. It's all clean at the moment. There's no real dirty action going on. It's all very, very clean driving as we work our way into this left-hand corner, down to second gear, always trying to get that rotation on the car with that downshift, and then on the throttle as early as we can. And just look at that loss of speed compared to that Ford GT when in the slipstream. And again, this is the situation. You've got the Supra and the Ford GT getting slipstreams, and then we're obviously just trying to tuck in and get that slipstream as much as possible. And the benefit we've got here is that Miro is struggling massively more than I am for straight line speed. He's really struggling to get the car on the exits, getting the grip down, obviously with the acceleration. You can see as soon as we get to the straight, his car is so slow and he's really at risk. But we've got the slipstream now to the Ford GT, and again you can see Tidjany getting closer and closer with all the battling that's going on in front of us. But as soon as we get to the straight, we're able to build up a bit of a gap. But again, as soon as we get to the corners, it all starts battling a little bit. You can see everyone's getting a little bit closer there, but you can see at the moment, while we're in a straight line and while we're kind of not battling, we get that gap back up to 1.2 seconds to Tidjany. But then again, we got the battling going on in front of us. I think we might have tapped the Ford GT. We got the Supra going up the inside of Miro, and it's all just basically giving Tidjany the slipstream now. So this is going to be another car involved with this battle for, I think it's for P8 basically. But whether we're going to be able to do that, it's going to be a very hard task, because we've got two cars with fresher tyres than us, and they're both power cars. Miro in the front there in the Mazda's got the same age tyres as us, and his car is pretty much the only car that I can pass in a straight line. Even the Supra, I think, in terms of straight line speed, is very difficult to get past, even with a slipstream. You might just be able to do it, obviously, if you go into the braking zone and get moved on. And we can see there Theo, I think, going for the move there in the Ford GT, and we're now stuck behind that Ford GT. However, he didn't make that move. You can see that Miro fighting for everything he's got in that Mazda, trying to hold on. And now Tidjany going down the right hand side. We're going to have to brake very late into this left hand corner, just about getting the car stopped. He's now got the left hand side. However, we get quite a good run out of the corner, and we've also got slipstream. So this is a side-by-side battle, just like we had with Francis, going into this right-hand corner and then into this left-hand corner. You're going to see that we give Tidjany the space on the apex. He gives us the space. Really good racing going on there as we manage to hold on to P11, although we do nearly lose the slipstream to P10, getting on the power as early as we physically can there. And yeah, we just about managed to get back in the slipstream. So absolutely crazy racing going on at the moment. Really good racing. I actually really enjoyed the day's racing here, because even though it's all slipstream based, it was quite entertaining still. You know, a lot of battling, a lot of clean driving, and luckily we're still in P11. But whether we're going to be able to pass any of these cars ahead is going to be another story. As we see again, Miro running very well. I'm not sure if there was a bit of contact there into the braking zone, and now we're going to get the slipstream from Miro. Tidjany's going to go to the left. We're going to have to stay to the right. Miro goes defensive. We brake as late as we can, and we manage to hold that position again. Just trying to see if we can stay with this group and see if we can get a move done on Miro maybe, because that is the only car that the Porsche can really pass in a straight line. There's no other car really that, when they've all got slipstreams, it's just impossible. But at this stage, you can see the Vantage getting behind us there, and that car is going to be extremely close when we get to the braking zone. We got Miro defending as much as he can. You can see we're getting the slipstream, and you can see the advantage we've got over Miro. We definitely have better straight line speed even when we're both in the slipstream. But into the braking zone, Miro brakes a little bit late. I think he might have connected with the Ford GT there, and that's going to put us right behind him now into this very, very tricky section. And this is really difficult when you're this close to a car through here. It's very difficult to judge, so we just lift off a little bit early and then onto the throttle as early as we can, making sure we don't run too far wide, not really carrying the speed that you can do through there. But I felt it's better to be safe than sorry than running wide and ending your race. But again, on the power as early as we can out of that exit, and we've just about still got the slipstream to Miro. So now it's going to be a drag race down the main straight. Can we get a slipstream and go for a move? He looks like he's lost the slipstream now to P8 and 9. So if we're going to go for a move, we need to do it on this corner now. However, we still also have Tidjany going for a move down the right hand side. We go for a little fake up the inside, and we're going to go 3 wide through this left hand corner. We've got the inside line. Tidjany holds it around the outside of Miro. We managed to make that move, and now Tidjany is going to get a massive slipstream from our Porsche. Just look at the closing speeds. It's scary how fast cars close up on us. And then into the braking zone, we just about managed to hold that position. But unfortunately, you can see With that battling, we've now not got the slipstream to P8 or 9, so I knew as soon as this happened that after this left-hand corner, there would be literally nothing we could do to defend against that Aston Martin Vantage, especially with the fresher tyres it's got on. We haven't got a hope to keep that car behind. So you can see we go to the left, we try and make him go around the outside, but you can just see the power difference is quite extreme. So we actually back out here. You can see I think I might give it a little lift early off the throttle, just tuck him behind him. There's no point fighting that. We just might as well use his slipstream to try and stay in P11. You can see the tyres are also fading quite badly with that pit in that lap earlier. We've been very aggressive with this stint also. So yeah, just trying to stay with Tidgney now and try and hold on to P11 ahead of Miro if we can do that. Now the positive is obviously Miro does seem to be struggling with straight line speed. So into the braking zone, stay as close as we can to Tidgney, see if he can drag us back up into that battle. But we're coming up to the final lap now. So yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to do much because I don't think he's got the slipstream. Obviously, we're getting the slipstream from Tidgney. Can we go for a move into the braking zone? But the problem we have is the Porsche doesn't really have the straight line speed compared to that Vantage. You can see we're going to go side by side. We're going to fake it down the left, and maybe we should have carried on down that right hand side and tried to go round the outside. But again, with the older tyres, I think going around the outside there would have been quite risky. I don't think we'd have had the traction or grip to really make that move work. But again, we've still got the slipstream, we've got Miro behind us, and it's a final lap battle now just to bring it home in P11. It's not the points we would have wanted, but the battling at the start of the race, the few incidents we had, did lose us a bit of time. But I think it was a fun race. It's been entertaining. The first race was absolutely brilliant. This race has not disappointed. Another enjoyable race. But this was the final slot of the day, so there was no chance to improve our points. But if I'm brutally honest, we would have needed, I think, a P2 or a P3 to improve our overall points in the championship. Anyway, so now it's just about racing for fun. We're getting that slipstream again to help us defend from Miro into the braking zone. Will Miro try and send it down the inside? He has a little look. We brake as late as we can. And yeah, we just about managed to hold on to that. And now again, picking up the slipstream from Tidgney, working our way into this really tricky section. And again, will Miro go for a move into this left-hand corner where you can send it up the inside? You can see trying to take it very safe for there, and I actually run wide. Get it back on track. We might have dirty, I think we've got dirty tyres now, so we're going to be struggling for traction out of here. Down to first gear. We're trying to be ultra safe on the throttle. You can see that Miro nearly loses the rear also, but just about gains control, and we managed to work our way down the straight. And we come home in P11. So an enjoyable battle at the end there. Not really much we could all do. It was just an enjoyable fight. And I think Miro enjoyed that, although there wasn't much he could do in his car either. So yeah, great fun. Enjoyed the racing. Hope you lot enjoyed the racing as well. And yeah, we finished P11. Not very good points, if I'm brutally honest. It was like 225. But like I say, we already had 310, but there was no point taking them because this is how our season went. A very good season. 2 rounds in the 360s and 2 rounds in the 340s. So 310 points were not worth keeping. But what an enjoyable season that's been. We've drove really well. Nations also P20 in Europe. We can't complain at that. Considering we've done both Nations and Manufacturer. Not prioritised any. Not really practiced for any. We've had a very solid Manufacturers and Nations season. So I hope you enjoyed Season 1. We will be back for streaming Season 2 live on the channel and doing the highlights videos. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hit that notification and let me know in the comments what you thought of this race. And make sure you give it a thumbs up. It really does help us out. Thanks again for watching, everyone.